How y'all doing today? Today is a video about how to tune your guitar. A lot of people, when you're starting out, kind of struggle with this, and there's a number of things that you can do that make it a whole lot easier. I'm going to start off with showing you how to tune your guitar in standard tuning. Then I'll share several alternate tunings, which are really fun and are actually at the heart of a lot of songs that you probably know and enjoy. So let's get started. The first thing to know is standard tuning is what you're going to encounter 90% of the time when you're listening to music. It's what you would learn if you went and took some guitar lessons. If you watch some guitar videos on YouTube, most of the time they're going to be in standard tuning. Standard tuning goes like this, and this guitar right now is out of tune, so I'm going to play one that is in tune. Standard tuning from this top string to the bottom is E, A, E, G, B, E, or high E. And just thinking about tuning it as is, if you go to the 5th fret on your large E string up here at the top, that is an A. So you can tune it that way, and you can listen and hear, and if you don't hear any wavering sort of sound, you're probably in the right place, and we'll talk more about that wavering here in a moment. But then you can just go kind of across the neck. So here on my A string, I can go up to a D and then hit what is supposed to be the D string, right? Sounds pretty good to me. Then I can go up to my D string and go up to the 5th fret, which is a G. Now that one sounds a little bit off if you listen carefully. Maybe. So then I can go up to the 4th fret of the G string, hit that, and that's a B. That one sounds right. Then I can go up to the 5th fret of that B string and see if my high E is in tune. This is an E, but it could be thrown off because if we get one off back here, then it's just going to carry through to the others. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we remember that we were off like right here, I think it was. Now it's hard for me to tell which way that's off. You can hear that little bit of wavering in there. I think I'm going to try going up a little bit. I don't hear the wavering anymore. So then I can repeat what I did before. Oh, you can really hear it now. So I'm going to go up a little bit. That sounds right. And once again. Another way you can kind of check to double check things, at least to make sure you're consistent across, is to do this. Just play the low E and then go up to the high E. Does that sound? Maybe a little bit off still. Another thing you can do when you finish tuning is just to play a G chord or a couple other chords. And see if they sound okay. Now let's say that you're playing guitar with somebody else and they give you a note to tune to, right? This happens a lot when you're jamming out with people and things, is somebody will be like, give me an E so they can tune up. So this guitar is, before we started, kind of just wildly twisted it out of tune. So let's try that. So we've got an E here, right? Now you can hear that wavering pretty good, can't you? So then I can go across and tune like I just showed you. There's a lot of devices like tuners like this one. Maybe you can see it light up there a little bit. And they're very useful too. And basically what you would do is kind of put it on your lap here right next to the guitar and see what you get. So that's how you tune to standard tuning. Now I'll talk about how to tune to alternate tunings. Okay, so the first one, you hear this all the time and it's really simple, is called drop D. And essentially all you're doing is taking the low E string and dropping it down until it matches this D, but an octave below it. And there's a whole bunch of songs that are played with drop D. A lot of metal songs are, and some Led Zeppelin songs too. So this is an alternate tuning that involves changing more strings than just the low E string. In this case, this one's called open G, and what you do is you tune your low E string down to a D, just like we did with the drop D. Then we tune our A string down to a G. We leave our third string, the D string, as a D. Also, we leave the G and the B strings the same. But we tune our high E string also down to a D. What does that do for you? Well, first off, your tuning is now a G chord. And therefore, you can use one finger to essentially make power chords and things like that. And again, bunch of songs, Rolling Stones use this a lot. I'll play one of those in a moment. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get it. This one, it might be useful to use a tuner that gets you right where you want it to go. There are ways to kind of fiddle around and figure it out yourself if you just have a guitar, but a lot easier with one of those cheap tuners. This next tuning is a alternate C tuning, and it's sometimes called open C, but it's a little bit different. Incidentally, every one of these that I'm doing, I'm tuning down. I'm not tuning the strings higher than standard tuning. Now, there are other tunings where you do tune up, but if you're trying this for the first time, it can be a little weird. So don't try to tune up at first until you can kind of get a handle on it. I'm tuning down on all the strings that I'm changing out of standard tuning. And frankly, you can avoid breaking strings that way. In this case, you don't do anything at all with this low E string. because it's often not played when this tuning is used. This particular tuning is associated with country music sometimes, but also like Scottish folk music and things like that, and also tunings for things like banjos and ukuleles even sometimes. So what this is, we skip over the low E string and we go to what was the A and we tune that down to a C. And then we tune the next string to an F. And then we tune the string after that to a C. What was the B string is now an A. And then we tune what was the high E string in standard tuning down to a C. And what does that get us? It gets us this amazing chord that we can play. Again, avoiding playing that low string unless you want to tune that to something that works for it. But and this, you can imagine, you know, has a lot of cool uses. For now, that's kind of how you get to it. So the last alternate tuning I'm going to share is an alternative version of the open C, and this one uses all 6 strings, and so we tune what would have been our E string down to a C. We leave our second string as an A. We tune our third string down to a C. The 4th string remains a G. The 5th string gets tuned to a C instead of a B. And then our 6th string remains the same at high E. And so again, this is very similar to the others in that you've got an entire chord from one finger. Incidentally, Dolly Parton does this a lot. That's why she can have super long nails, because she can use one finger. Now, she's a really good guitarist too, far better than me, so I'm not comparing myself to her at all. She's amazing. So that's kind of how you get to these. And I'm going to play a few things that use these tunings, and I'll tell you which ones they are, of course. That's kind of how you do it. If you're new to guitar, don't worry about these. Stick with the standard tuning and learn that first. Also, a couple of other last piece of advice, like don't be cranking things when you're tuning. Do it in little increments, just small adjustments until you can hear it and feel it, and you'll avoid breaking strings that way. Another bit of advice, when you have put a set of new strings on a guitar, I do it about once every 6 months. They're going to fall out of tune pretty quickly, even within a few minutes of you tuning up. So just keep that in mind. It takes a few days for them to kind of get in the groove of being in standard tuning, so to speak. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for spending some time today. Let's see what I can do here. Thank you.